Ok. Hola a todos, buenas tardes, bienvenidos a esta sesión de Madrid Juke, donde estamos con Catalin Tudose, que nos va a hablar de un tema muy popular, yo creo, y que nos va a venir súper bien. Voy a cambiar al inglés para darle la bienvenida a Catalin, ¿vale? Bueno,
Don't
pues
worry, I
Catalin,
understood everything.
welcome. Thank you.
You.
Thank you for talking for Madrid Jack in this session about Spring REST data. What a topic. How many developers are using it today? And yes,
I
I
think a
think
lot,
it's,
a lot of them, a lot of developers are using or at least touching
yeah.
Spring Data REST.
Yes, I agree with you. So yeah, I don't know. Catalin and David are both of them in Bucharest today, and I'm the only one in Madrid.
We
So
are living in the era of globalization, so who
yeah.
cares where we are?
So if
It
you
was
are ready, sorry, David, go
okay.
ahead.
No, go ahead. Let's go for it.
Okay, so Catalin, everything is yours. I'm going to add your screen here and we will be backstage. Yes, if you have questions, you can put them in the comments and we will have a few moments in the talk and the opportunity to ask the question to Catalin. So don't hesitate to put anything you want to ask to Catalin in the comments, and David and me will take them and communicate with Catalin. Okay? So Catalin, go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining this session. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad that I can share with you interesting things about efficient Spring Data REST development. I'm Cătălin Tudose. I'm based in Bucharest, Romania, as my colleagues already told you. I'm in the IT field for many, many years. My main activity is now related to Java, also for many, many years. I have a PhD in computer science and I'm acting as a Java and web technologies expert and Java chapter lead in Luxoft in Bucharest, Romania. Also, I'm involved in teaching and I'm the author of 6 courses and 1 project at Pluralsight. The topics are about Java testing, Spring, Java persistence, so exactly what we are going to talk today. And I'm also the author of 2 books at Manning. This JUnit in Action that was published November 2020, so exactly 2 years ago, and this Java persistence with Spring Data and Hibernate. It is in its final stages. It should be published December or January. I'm making the last corrections. So what about our topic from today about REST? Just to remind you a few important things about representational state transfer, and otherwise our session will be heavily based on demonstrations and on running the code, analyzing the code, explaining hands-on. REST, acronym for representational state transfer, is a software architecture style to create web services. It allows interoperability between the internet and computer systems, and you are able to access and manipulate some web resources that are represented as text. So you say, this is my resource. I am accessing and I'm executing some stateless operations. They are represented by verbs. What can I require from a resource? I may get it, post, put, patch, delete that resource. I have to identify the URL of the resource, and just to emphasize that in most cases we are going to use REST over HTTP, even if it is not protocol specific, and the representation of the state can be in various formats, most popular JSON, XML. Just to jump to the code, now we have this application that will serve as our vehicle for the demonstration. What are we doing here? We are managing users, and we annotated this class with entity. It has a primary key generated value. These users are participating to an auction. I will start this application. To tell you, in order to provide a good demonstration, we are going to load the information about the users from this CSV file. You see here, and it will be loaded in a repository in the database, and we are going to access it through a REST application from the browser. And we are going to start investigating the ways of how to make our application and our interaction with the REST application more efficient. I started the application. I can have a look here. I will see that it starts on port 8081. So if I go here, and I will say local host 8081 users, I'm going to see that I have this list of users displayed. I can have a look at it, and this is the first taste of our REST application. I go back here to my code, and I will say, how can I interact with my application? For example, I can use this REST client that is provided by the IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate Edition, and I can send here requests, get this user with number 1, and I may get it again and again. So this request will hit this front controller, and this controller, you see, has auto-wired the repository, and it is forwarding in general the requests to the repository in order to be able to display the result here in this client or here in this client. That same idea. One first thing that I am thinking about when I'm saying let's make our application more efficient is the fact that if I'm repeatedly executing this get, I will query again and again the repository, and the same data will be sent across the network. And I may say, but it's useless. I have already taken the information for this user with ID 1, and the information is up to date. How can I make my interaction with the repository through the REST application more efficient? And if I look here in the application, you see here that there are 2 bins that are inserted here. We talk here about ETag bins. What's an ETag? Just to have a short look here at the explanations from the side. It's a tag inserted into the HTTP response header, and it will be able to determine if something changed at the content in a given URL. So if I'm querying the same resource and say, give me this, I may say if you if your resource didn't change yet, and you can check this with the help of ETag, then don't give it to me. So I go back here to the code and said, these are the beans that are taking care of the ETag. And you see here, because I added these 2 beans to the container, I am receiving here in the tag this, in the header, this ETag. You say, I'm providing you this information, and the ETag for it is this one, so that you know if anything was changed or not. I can go here, and I am allowed to send now a conditional request to make my application more efficient. This is the ETag that I received now, and I can keep it on my side. And now I can query this user number 1 again, saying, give it to me unless this is the ETag that you have on your site. Because if it is the same ETag, it means that the resource didn't change in any way. So I already have it. So there is no need to send it to me again. So here, response body is empty, response code is 304, not modified. I am making some more efficient approach by stopping sending across the network the information that I'm already having. And in order to demonstrate that it is really like this, I will patch this user to change something from its side. Yes. And if I'm querying again with the same ID and the same ETag, this time I am receiving the full information, because meantime the information was changed. I said I have this ETag, and I have a new ETag. If I replace it here, give me user with ID 1 unless it has this ETag. Okay, response body is empty, 304 not modified. And we have a first taste of how we can optimize, how we can make our application more efficient, but it is much more to do. So I will look a little at what else we have in the code. I have a repository. This is something specific to Spring Data. We use it here for a REST application. But when I'm talking about a Spring Data repository, I read this, I'm extending this JPA repository of user and long. And this means that I'm managing entities of type user having IDs of type long. And if I look here, I see that I'm already providing methods, and I'm inheriting other methods and other methods from the super interfaces. So when I arrive here, just by defining this repository, it means that I'm inheriting a lot of functionality, and it is Spring that will take the control. And when I want to use this repository, for example, here, it will say, I know what you are going to do. You want to manage entities of type user having IDs of type long. So I will provide you a proxy implementation of this user repository interface, saying whenever you would like to save, find by ID, so the usual operations, find all, whatever here, delete, then I will know how to generate the behavior of this class, how to create their methods, and to translate a save to an insert in the user table, to translate a find by ID into a select method that is doing exactly what it is supposed to do. So I'm inheriting all the things. But if I look now to the controller, I will see this is a REST controller. I auto-wired here the repository, and I'm starting to write these methods when I'm delegating in most cases to the repository. So what about simply removing everything from here? Don't worry, we don't destroy anything. Yes, we'll demonstrate that we'll not destroy anything, and we'll demonstrate the magic of Spring Data REST. I am restarting the application. It will take a few seconds. I'm looking here at this page that I have previously accessed at this URL, localhost 8081 users. I will keep it as a witness. Let me see. Application is started. So I can go here and I will say localhost 8081 users. And surprise or not, I am getting such a response with all the 20 users that are provided. Plus, you see, I said that we are keeping this as a witness, plus some additional information to navigate inside the collection, to have link for user number 1, for user number 2, and so on. So I removed the controller, and now I'm getting more information. So I'm getting more with less. But let's dive into what is happening. As I was saying, this user controller has the role mostly to delegate to the repository. So Spring Data REST will come and say, okay, you want to expose the repository? Great. I will expose it directly without you needing to be without you needing to write a controller and to delegate the repository, so that you have to write less code with better results to be more efficient. And I'm going to expose here all the functionalities of the repository, the ones that I was showing you here. So from outside now, just by having this user repository added here, extending JP repository, our application will expose everything to the outside world through the REST application. Okay, let me query again what it is here. You see, I'm getting this plus this ETag. And I still want to be more efficient. I will do more changes. Let me close this CSV. Application properties starts on 8081. I look here in the user entity, and I look here in the application. And I was saying, I have here these beans that need to be introduced in the Spring container to provide us the ETag, but Spring Data REST helps us with a better alternative. I go here to the class user, and I will say, let me try the following. I will insert this version field. I will annotate it with this version annotation from the JavaX persistence package. And this such a version field is generally used to tell us to keep track of the changes at the level of the entity. More exactly, you start, okay, I have version 0, 1, and so on. One good application of such a version annotated field is in transactions. When one transaction started, is reading this record, some other transaction is reading the record, modifying it and writing it back. When the first transaction arrives back, it will find the modified version, so it will know that it is working on some record that has been modified, and the first transaction will be rolled back. But we have other applications of this version annotated field when we can use this as the ETag. So if I'm coming here and I will say, give me user number 1, you see I removed those bins from the container, from the Spring container, and say I see here this ETag 0. So the version is playing now the role of the ETag. So if I go here and I say, don't give me user number 1 unless it is a version different than 0, response body is empty, 304 not modified. So this version annotated field now plays the role of the ETag, and I think that it is a good trade-off. What's the trade-off? You have to come with this new field of version. This will translate in a column, in a new column, which is not big waste, and you will no longer need to work at the level of the application and to insert these bins in the container. So if I will go here and I will say, let's modify, let's patch user 1, say yes, 204, success. If I go here, say, let's have a look, ETag is now 1, but I have the old version 0. I am provided the new version. Okay, I have version 1. Let me query again. Okay, 304 not modified. And my application is more efficient now, for sure. I said it is an acceptable trade-off. One column introduced here, while I get rid of the calculus needed for those ETags that are hashed based, and such a version like 0, 1 and so on is easier to be understood, humanly easier to be managed, easier to have a look and say, okay, I have or I do not have that version. Okay, back to the repository. Maybe some of you are worrying about a thing. I said I am having like a short circuit here. The user controller can disappear, and I'm exposing here the whole functionality of the user repository, where to the outside world, to the REST application. Most likely you would like not to expose everything. What are you exposing? I'm looking again. Okay, save all, delete, 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 and so on. Yes, so what am I exposing? I'm exposing everything, and I don't want, in most cases, I don't want to. But I can quickly stop the user repository to expose everything and say, let's say that I don't want to expose this delete operations from the outside world. Great. this is something that in most cases you would like to do. I am coming with these methods. Delete by ID. Delete, what am I deleting? A user. And I'm pretending here that I am overriding these methods. Yes, and REST resource, I'm adding this annotation, exported false. You see, say I am instructing Spring Data REST to stop exporting these methods. This is an annotation coming from Spring Data REST. So let's stop exposing here everything. And let's check that it is really the case. Okay, I stopped exporting the delete. Do I have access to the whole collection of users? Okay, it is here. What about deleting? Delete. Uh-oh, 405. It's error from the side of the client. You're not allowed to do this any longer. No. My user repository is restricted now. Okay, I have more options about what to expose, what to stop exporting, how easily, efficiently, just writing 2-3 lines of code, simple code, declaratively. Okay. One other thing that we may ask ourselves, you see that I am here accessing users, the user's endpoint. And if we go back to the user controller, we see here get mapping users, post mapping users, everything was on users. While here, we are not indicating anything. Why? Because Spring Data REST is smart enough to help us being efficient even in this case. Spring Data REST will say, what are you managing? User entities. So if you want to manage user entities by convention, I will expose everything on the user's path, on the user endpoint, because I know how to make the plural in English of user. But let's presume that I want to expose on some other path. I'm not working in English. I want to customize. I can use this repository REST resource and come here and say path. Okay, ABC. I don't care about something else. Let's restart the application and demonstrate that now my repository is quickly and efficiently exposed on some other path. Started here. So if I go here, users, hello users, no more users here but ABC. Do we have any A, B, C? Yes, so I switched quickly to another path just by writing something with annotations, with meta information. I want to do more. I want to be more efficient and more secure. And I go here to this user and I have a look at this list of fields, and I may say, okay, I stopped exposing the functionalities of the repository, but what about particular fields? Maybe I will stop exposing these particular fields as well. And I can do this using the JSON ignore annotation. Better I will put in on the getter. JSON ignore. Yes. So I see here name registered citizen. Okay. Let's restart the application. And I will keep that page as a witness. Start the application. This is my witness page. Let me go here, users. Okay, name registered, no citizenship. Here, name registered citizen. So Spring Data REST allows me to be more efficient, more effective when building REST applications. You see that I can quickly and declaratively provide a lot of options to stop this, to expose that. All the work that I had to do initially by creating this user controller is taken by the user repository, and we configure it declaratively. This ends the first part of our demonstration. So before moving further, yes, we have another application that continues this one. I would like to know if we have any questions so far.
So we don't have any questions in the comments, but if anyone...
Okay, I will ask about the questions later. I consider this is a good moment because I have just finished the first part of the demonstration.
Okay, so ¿no tenéis ninguna pregunta? ¿Nadie? No. Everything is very clear, I think.
Great. Let's move further about generating REST events. This is the second part of our demonstration. We have two ways of generating REST events. We may write an annotated handler, or we may write an application listener. What's about that? We have here this second application that is, of course, based on the first one. I'm going to start it here, and I would say I would like to provide some side effect methods. Yes. I said I can do it two ways, writing a handler or writing a listener. Let me close a little from these ones so that we can focus on the handler and on listener. A handler is a bin. You see here that we are annotating it, so it will be created as a bin and injected into the Spring container. And I start having a look here at this methods, you see that they are annotated: handle before create, handle after create, handle before delete, handle after delete, because there is a bunch of annotations of this kind. So this is something to execute before creating what? A user. And you will do this. Or I may have the alternative of using listener, saying I'm extending this abstract repository event listener. Yes, this is a class provided by Spring Data REST. It comes here with a series of already existing protected void methods. The events are the same, like in the case of the handler, and I come here and I override some of the methods. And now, because we have that, I go here, say, let's see what we have there. Get user number 1. Okay, it is here. The ETag is now with versions, as we introduced in our previous demonstration. Let's patch. Let's patch and see what's happening. I'm patching. And if I go here, we'll say listener. Before listener, after listener. I don't have a handler because I chose to have only for the create and for the delete. What's the difference between create and save? Create is for the post HTTP method, save is for the put and patch. So I'm having here on before save, on after save. Okay, what else? Delete. Let's delete now and say what's happening. You see, I'm having these side effect methods: before handler, after, before handler, before listener, after handler, after listener. So now I am having messages from all of them, from both the handlers and the listeners. We just chose here some funny messages and different, of course, to demonstrate that, yes, our side effect methods are really cold. You may ask yourself, okay, any preference? What should I choose in order to work? One strategy to choose is what's happening in the project. If you have a project that is already using one way or another, probably you should continue that way to have something uniform, something consistent. But all other things being equal, my personal preference will go to handlers, because I go at the level of the annotations, at the level of meta information, while with listener I need to extend the class to bring some more dependency here to import this listener, abstract repository event listener. But of course, there may be other preferences. And to drive ourselves to the next part of the demonstration, we talk about projections and excerpts in this last part. Everything that we noticed so far was using the default view of the domain model. So if I look here, this is the default. So I see name, register citizen, whatever. But maybe I don't want to display it. Maybe I want to alter the view of the model. I want to be more efficient for particular types of users. And in this case, I may work with projections and excerpts. And I move here to the third part of our demonstration. To the third part. I will start the application, and meantime, just to tell you, I created this projection and I annotated it with projection. I say, okay, I'm working with user class name summary. So you want to customize your view. How? What do you want to expose? I want to expose only the name, and I want to expose the address because I introduced here a new class address, the address of the user. It was not there in the previous demonstrations. I want to expose the address, but not just like that. But I annotate it with this value annotation, and I provide here what is called a Spring expression language. So I say, give me the address, but give it to me according this toString method. So whenever you want to display the address, display it in this formatted way. So I started this application, and if I look here at user number 1, you see this is the default view. I'm having user number 1, name, address, field by field, registered citizen. But I said I would like to display differently, to address more efficiently the expectations of different end users. And I introduced this projection here, name summary. So if I go here, I will take it. Let's put it here because ABC does not exist anymore. And I say here, projection summary, argument projection summary, and say I'm exposing only the name, and the address is exposed differently with the toString method, not with these fields one after the other one. Yes, different. So I have a customized view. But let's have a look at this users whole collection. What do I see? I see that it is displayed using this projection. Is this by default? Not exactly, because I have to go back here and we look here in the user repository that we analyzed in detail for the previous parts of the demonstration, and I see here that I say here excerpt projection user projection dot class. So whenever you are going to access the whole collection, use by default this projection that will give name and address displayed like this. So this is a way to indicate quickly, efficiently how to display the whole repository. Okay. Before asking about possible other questions, just to let you know that if you are interested about my books that I presented at the beginning, or by any other book by Manning, you may this week you may buy them using this QR code with a 35% reduction. Other questions, please, related to the second part of the presentation. Anything else?
Thank you, Catalin. Yes, so if you have any questions, that is the moment.
Everything is so clear. You can
you have, sorry, I have a question. You have the code that you showed in a GitHub repo or something?
Yes, but why? I have my GitHub repository, yes, that I can access here. And in my GitHub repository, here it is efficient Spring Data REST. You see it, yes?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So this is GitHub/C Tudose. You will find other things, but this is efficient Spring Data REST is here.
Okay, cool. And we have a question. What are the difference between using @handler before X and pre-X, apart from Spring versus JPA? What are the advantage, disadvantage?
So I want to understand the question. So which are the difference between using this? I understand it is about this handle before whatever, yes?
Yes.
And
pre.
And what?
At pre something.
So pre-destroy, pre-whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
I understand. This is related to side effect methods. When we talk about pre-destroy, for example, we are talking about an event or that particular bean. While here, we are having a lot of alternatives. Yes, we are externalizing here. This handler may stay here as a separate bean to intercept what it is happening here at the level of the database. When we talk about pre or whatever, we are talking about events on that bean. While here we are talking on events, REST events. We are talking about REST events, not events that happen in the container. We are talking about REST events, whatever the user is doing to interact with the application. This handle create is corresponding to the post method. Delete, of course, to the delete method. Save is corresponding to put and patch methods. What we have in the handlers and in the listeners correspond to REST events and not to bean events.
Okay, awesome, man. It's okay.
So I'm still here.
I will put the repo
yes.
of the
Please
demo.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah. So anything else? Yes, okay. Same question about projection versus Jackson mixing. What are the advantages, disadvantages?
These projections are more flexible, and I may have one projection just specified here in the URL. Yes, so when I go here, I am specifying here the name of the projection in the URL. So I may have here several projections with different names, and I may expose them only through the URL. They may be viewed from the outside by different views, and eventually I may even come and secure some of the projections to be accessible only by some type of users.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay.
We have a question, sorry, in Spanish. Yes. What will happen with the events, for example, when saving data and we have an exception during saving data, for example? The after will be executed or not?
The side effect methods may be executed, but data will not be there. So here I may start, say, handle before create. This is executed. The create fails, and this one will no longer be executed.
Okay.
And the data will not be there because the post didn't succeed.
Okay. What else?
If any. What else?
No more questions?
No more questions.
Okay, we have a small delay, so maybe someone is still thinking any of the questions.
Okay,
so,
wait a little.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm going to just step in and make some other announcements of the upcoming events that we are going to have. I'm going to, I can do it in English and then go back to Spanish. I'm going to share my screen, Catalin, but I will get back to yours after my announcements. So
I'm sorry.
Basically, we have another session because we have a pretty hectic month this November, and after this online session from Catalin, and after this very good session in which we have returned to the very more technical topics, we have another one coming up. And this is actually a session that will be part of another Java user group tour that Sven Rupert from JFrog is doing in Spain, in different Java user groups in Spain. And next November 16th, he will be with us in Madrid in an in-person conference in which he will be speaking about the proxy pattern, and he will deep dive into that proxy pattern. So this is a very good opportunity to know a little bit more about the proxy pattern. And no matter, though, it doesn't matter if you are already using the proxy pattern. I'm pretty sure that Sven is going to discover new things or new kind of proxies or uses of the proxy pattern. In fact, this is the next meetup is already published, and part of what he's going to show is part of a book that he has written about patterns, and he goes very deep into some of these patterns. So I'm pretty sure that this is going to be really interesting for everyone. So right now I'm announcing it, so you will be receiving, and from now on you can RSVP, you can book your seat, and this will be in person, and this will be on the global offices in Madrid, but usually we will try to broadcast that session too. So I always say that it's better if we try to attend, because part of the best things comes after the talk during the beers and the networking. So that's basically our announcement. And answering to the hours man, yes, it will be broadcasted. So, but again, if you can, please try to attend in person. So that's all from my side. I'm removing the screen, and I don't know if we have any other questions for Catalin. I think it's been a really good session, Catalin.
Yes, congrats. Very useful and simple enough to understand really quickly the
efficient Spring Data Reactive.
Yeah.
Efficient is also efficient. You are efficient. You are more efficient if you are simpler.
Yeah. So it's always very interesting because we don't only need to pay attention to how we do things, but how do we them efficiently, and that's a very important part. Yeah. Thank you for your session, Catalin.
Thank you.
And by the way, we are looking forward to have you in person next time.
Yes.
It depends on many factors. If I will come to Madrid, of course, I will let you know. Probably will tell everyone my favorite place in Madrid by that time.
Yeah. Well, that could be good. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Gracias. Buenas tardes a todos.
Gracias, Catalin. So, gracias a todo el mundo y hasta la próxima. Nos vemos la semana que viene.